Hi, and welcome to another video. Today I'm stamping some tags for my travelogue, and I've had several requests to do a video demonstrating how to stamp a good clean image. And the first thing are that you need to have the right tools. And by that I mean you need to have a good stamp pad that has plenty of ink in it. You want to make sure that the surface that you are stamping on is very sturdy, meaning that you need to be on a countertop or a very sturdy table, something that's going to enable you to apply even pressure to the stamp. And the third thing is that you need to stamp on a stamp pad. A lot of people use a changing pad from a diaper bag or a mouse pad. I find that those can be a little bit too squishy for stamping purposes. So what I use is this stamp pad that's made by Unique Boutique. I know there are a lot of stamp pads that are like this. It's pretty sturdy. It does have a little bit of give. As you can see, it's about a ½ inch thick. And that's what I use for my stamping surface. So I like to make sure that I have that whenever I'm doing any stamping. Okay, the next thing that you want to make sure that you do is that you want to ink your stamp completely. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here and I'm just going to apply even pressure to my stamp. I'm not going to rock it. I'm just going to put it on the ink pad, and I'm going to make sure that I get plenty of ink on the stamp. And then I'm going to put it where I want it to be on my tag, and I'm just going to set it down. Now I'm going to be very careful not to rock it. I'm just going to apply even pressure to it. I'm not going to push down too hard, just good even pressure. And then I'm just going to lift it up. And as you can see, it gives me a nice clean image. Okay. Next I have a stamp that is pretty intricate. It's got a typewriter. It says write your own story. And so to get a good image with that, again, I'm going to bring my stamp pad over. And I'm just going to take my stamp and I'm going to set it straight down and pick it up. And I'm going to do this several times to be sure that I have every part of this stamp inked. Okay. Now, sometimes what will happen is you will get some ink where it doesn't need to be. And you may want to go ahead and wipe that off, because if you accidentally rock even just a little bit, it's going to put that little tiny bit that got inked onto your image. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put this where I want it to go onto my tag. I'm going to set it straight down. I'm going to be very careful not to rock. I'm just going to apply even pressure until I'm sure that I've put all of that ink on there, and then I'm just going to lift it straight up. Now sometimes when you lift it straight up like that, the paper tends to stick to the stamp, and if that happens, you just want to take your fingernail and just kind of put it off just a little bit. Just peel it off of that stamp. As you can see, that gave me a nice clean image. You can even see the words write your own story. Okay, so that's how you do it. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp with a large stamp that's very, very detailed and intricate. As you can see, it's got a lot of lines on it. The first thing that I want to tell you about this stamp is it's not going to stamp well on textured cardstock, because the textured cardstock has a texture to it, which means it has very tiny peaks and valleys within that paper that's going to make it very difficult to get a clean image. The next thing that I'm going to tell you is that what you need to do is, or I like to, you don't have to, but I like to turn the stamp upside down and actually take the ink and go over the top of the image so that I can see that I'm getting even coverage on this stamp. I can see that I'm getting ink everywhere that there needs to be ink, because when it's a stamp like this that has very fine detail, it's very, very easy to miss inking part of that stamp. Now, I'm not rubbing across. I've seen some people rub, and I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do. I'm just saying I don't get a good result from that. I'm just coming straight up and down on the stamp. Just straight up and down. And I'm making sure that I get ink everywhere on this stamp. And then, when I'm reasonably sure that I've got ink everywhere, I'm going to pick that up and I'm going to turn it and I'm going to visually examine it to see that I have ink everywhere. And then I'm going to take that stamp and I'm going to set it straight down, and I'm going to try not to rub, and I'm going to try not to rock. I'm going to try to just make sure that I put even pressure everywhere on this stamp. I'm going to try not to push too hard. I'm just going to give it a good go where I've got good even pressure, and then I'm just going to lift it straight up. And as you can see, that's a nice clear image. I've got good coverage. I can see all the lines. That's a nice clean stamp. So, there you have it. A way to do a nice clean stamped image, whether it's on a tag or a piece of paper. If you guys have any questions or comments, please let me know. To clean my stamp, I've got some Stampin' Up! Mist that I use, that I spray on my stamp. And then I've got this grungy old, very well used sponge that I rub it off on. And for those of you who stamp a lot and scrapbook a lot, you're probably very bored by this video, and I apologize for that. This is geared toward new stampers who aren't really sure what to do and maybe aren't getting as clear images as they would like. Again, I thank you guys so much for your support. It really does mean a lot to me. If you have any questions at all, shoot me an email or leave me a comment. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye now.